All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to Food for Thought. The topic of conversation for today's episode is going to be the fact that it is a privilege to be able to do hard work and to be able to work hard and to put effort into the daily tasks in your life. So let's hop straight into it. If you guys remember from the last episode, or I don't know if it was the last episode, but the last time that I made this meal, which is the oat bowl, I told you that I might add in banana after, and I actually have done that the past couple times that I've made this oat bowl. I just didn't record, but it's delicious with that banana in there, so 100% gonna be adding that in again. Super recommended if you guys want to try it out. I had a lot of schoolwork yesterday, and that's how this topic of conversation actually popped up into my mind, because I essentially yesterday, this is what my schedule looked like. I'll give you guys a bit of context. So essentially, I had stayed up relatively late working on a project, which is the same project that I worked on yesterday as well. But anyway, I had this lab report due for one of my classes, and it was taking a very long time. Long lab report, you know the type, right? So I had class from 11 to 12, and then I had a little job interview actually as a line cook, which is good. That went really well. And then I came back, and I got back and ate, and probably at like 4 p.m. I started working on this project. And I really didn't want to do it, this lab report. And I really did not want to do it just because, schoolwork and whatnot. And I knew that it was going to take a long, long time. Took even longer than I thought initially, but I knew that I was going to be working on that for the rest of the day, basically. So I start calling with my group, and we realize blah, 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 it's way too long, we need to shorten it, all this stuff. And long story short, after working on it pretty much continuously, aside from taking a break to eat, I ended up finishing it at around 2:30 in the morning with my group. Oh yeah, look at that. So yeah, I ended up finishing it around 2:30 in the morning with my group, and I was kind of sitting there, feeling sorry, feeling bad for myself, like pitying myself, like, oh my god, I gotta do all this work. This was before I actually started sitting there, like, oh, I gotta do all this work, I don't want to do it, blah, blah, blah. But again, relating to the last time that I talked about perspective and being grateful for what you have, I realized after I finished, I was like, wow, I am super privileged to be able to be going to university, getting an education, living the young years of my life, being able to have the mental capacity to work on something that long. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to do that every day. No, 100%. It's really good to have balance. You don't want to be putting, sinking 10 hours into a project every day and ruining your sleep schedule. But every now and then, I think that it's actually very good to have one of those days where you just have to just dial in and do a bunch of work that you don't want to do. And that put into perspective for me, again, just like I said, the fact that I'm actually lucky to be able to get a degree, get an education. I'm lucky to be able to be living in the city that I'm in. I'm lucky to have the capacities to do that hard work. Take, for example, working out. A lot of people don't like working out, and they feel as though it's a burden, or I don't know exactly what, because I really like working out, but that's besides the point. I think if you don't like working out, that something you can point to, or something that you can... Sorry, I was just typing in how much stuff I had there. Something that you can do, some perspective that you can give yourself, is just understanding that there's people right now in the world, many people who are ill, who are sick, who are bedridden, who can't even have the chance to go to the gym and to do some hard work and to exert themselves. I remember this was back last year when I was injured. I tore the meniscus in my knee, and it took me out for almost a year from sport that involved, running and jumping and whatever with legs. And I wasn't able to run. I wasn't able to do all that stuff. And I remember just thinking to myself, I was like, in the middle of my recovery, I was like, I would love so much right now to just be able to go outside and go run all out sprint just until I can't even run anymore. Like that type of tiredness where you feel like you're gonna pass out. I was actually thinking to myself, wow, I wish I could do that right now. And the funny thing is, I probably never would have thought that to myself when I was healthy, when I wasn't injured. And you never realize, there's that old saying, you never realize what you have until you lose it. And it might be cliche, but it's kind of true, because it got illustrated to me in that fact where I realized that, it's a privilege to be able to do the hard things, such as working out. And you can see that when you realize that a lot of people can't do it. A lot of people don't have the time. Maybe they are, disabled and they can't, function normally in their physical capacity. And I just think about them, and I think about how much they would probably look at someone that's dreading a workout, or that's dreading doing an assignment, or that's dreading going to work. The bedridden person watching them being like, I'd give anything to be able to go to work right now. I'd give anything to be able to stand up, to be able to go out to the gym and to sweat and to put in effort and to feel alive. I bet that they would give anything to do that, all the money in the world. And when you can realize that, when you can really take that in and internalize it, is when I believe that you will understand the mindset that I'm talking about right now. Look at how good this is looking. Oh man, look at that. Now, this isn't all. Let's get some cinnamon on here. And let's get some honey as well. This is gonna be so amazing. This is really good if you guys have sweet cravings. This is pretty good for satisfying those. Now, I've been searching up I've been watching a bunch of videos on different healthy recipes for baking stuff to try and satisfy sweet tooth cravings. Look at that. Wow. Amazing. So occasionally I'll go on reels throughout the day, as more recently, because I've been finding it's just the algorithm found out what I like, and what I like to watch is just people make different recipes for healthy desserts. And I think I might try some of those ones out. Although, I'm skeptical, because a dessert usually tastes good because it's made with a bunch of artificial sugar and whatnot. And, anyone can make a recipe look good on camera and say that it's good on camera, but to have that actually be the case is very difficult. And a lot of the recipes also use artificial sweeteners, which I don't really know much about in terms of health effects and in terms of how it affects your body, how your body responds to artificial sweeteners like stevia and whatnot. Or is stevia artificial? Anyway, I don't know. Anyway, that's kind of besides the point. I don't really know how those work or how they affect your body, so I'm kind of staying away from them for now, just in my mind. I'm thinking whenever I see a recipe with a sweetener, I'm thinking, okay, maybe don't do that, or maybe I'll use honey instead, because usually a lot of these recipes are trying to keep it extremely low calorie. But I don't care that much about low calorie stuff right now because I'm actually trying to gain weight. So I'd be fine putting some honey or maple syrup or whatever in them. But I think I will definitely try some of those out and let you guys know how they go. If I find any good recipes, I'll be sure to let you know. But here's breakfast for today. I can't hold back right now. I have to take a bite. Just looks too good. Wow. The honey makes such a big difference for the taste and the sweetness of the meal. Anyway, let's recap what we talked about for today's episode. There we go. Today we talked about how being able to do hard things, being able to put effort into what you do in your daily life, whether that's going to work, whether that's working out, whether that's doing school, whether that's getting out of bed, understand that it's a privilege to be able to do that hard work. Understand that not everyone can even have the opportunity to put that hard work in. And just try and think about a time where you had something taken away from you and you realized, wow, like that thing is really important to me and I wish I could do it, even though normally I might not like doing it, or normally I don't feel like doing it. When it gets taken away, that's when you realize, oh, actually, I would love to do this thing right now. And it's a privilege to be able to do this thing, this hard thing that I don't want to do. So take that with you guys for today. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.